But obviously you can get two opinions on gold.
So you think our political systems could be okay for the next few years? You told me that's looking too long.
No, I don't think, but collapse is not associated with hyperinflation. So it's associated with deflation. See, I don't know what history these people are talking to. They can cite the Reichsbank in the 20s, and they can cite Zimbabwe. What else are they citing?
So what are historical examples then?
Oh, every collapse is deflationary. I mean, the Spain collapse, I think Spain defaulted on its bonds, what, 9 times in the period, in the Habsburg and post-Habsburg period. I don't know of any inflationary, hyperinflationary collapses. There might be one. I just can't think of one. I mean, when a government goes, the value of its money goes with it. It's not. It can't. It doesn't matter how much it prints. Nobody's going to spend it. Yeah. I could be wrong about it. There could be some counter examples. I just don't top of my head know them. Yes, sir.
What I haven't heard mentioned is fair trade, certification and things like that. Is that significant? Does it mean anything?
Absolutely. The question was about fair trade. Our current trade policies are run a doctrinaire way based on a theory that is poorly applied and because it's poorly understood. The free trade doctrines are based on Ricardo's theory of comparative advantage. But Ricardo had some very strict starting conditions. It's like anything else in the prudential world, in the practical world. Every theory has its starting conditions. And if you don't pay attention to the starting conditions, the theory is worthless. The starting conditions for fair trade are that capital is relatively immobile, that there is balanced trade between the two countries, and that there is full employment of all economic resources in both countries. So it's a paradigm, it's an ideal that under these conditions, free trade gives you the best results. But as you depart from the starting conditions, then you can't apply the doctrine, the theory, in the same dogmatic way. So, is capital relatively immobile? Well, heck no. You punch a few buttons and you've moved it from the United States to France, to Bangladesh, to wherever. Is trade balanced? And is there full employment of resources? Not when there's 10% unemployed. So you cannot, it's a misapplication of the theory to apply it no matter what conditions are.
Fair trade, I mean, in the sense that you're not going to buy coffee beans not grown in the shade by well-paid workers. Fair trade. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I was talking about free trade, and then fair trade is another. I don't think fair trade always means what you're saying it means. There's, but in any case, fair trade is the opposite of free trade, where you actually intelligently manage trade relationships. At least that's how the sense I was attempting to use it in.
And is that, I mean, there's such things as free trade certifications now and things like that.
You said free trade. Fair trade.
Fair trade. I don't know why I keep doing that. Be around the economics. But I'm wondering about actual, like whether it's a significant force right now or anything to really pay attention to. Or
Fair trade?
Fair trade certifications and things like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, well, I think that's part of being a good consumer. But it's still not big enough. I buy coffee that way. I buy, hopefully it's made by people who are well paid and growing it in the shade, whatever it might be. But I mean, that's, I think, a part of a consumer, that responsible consumer that Steve asked about. So you do what you can, where you can, even if it's not big enough to make a great difference globally. It makes a great difference to somebody.
John,
Yes?
I'd ask you to ask one more question, and then those who are interested in worship need to go to their worship. So one question.
Yes?
Would you say that corruption, hence, no Caritas involved in that, is a factor, is a pattern factor in banks' collapses?
Well, the question is whether corruption is a factor in the banks collapsing. In a way, it's a paradoxical answer. In a way, it's a lack of corruption. What do I mean by that? There's no bribery in American politics. And why is there no bribery in American politics? Because we've legalized it. And in the same way, there is no corruption in banking, because everything you and I, or a normal human being, would consider corrupt is lawful. So in that sense, corruption plays no part because it doesn't exist. But in a moral sense, so in a legal sense, there's no corruption. In a moral sense, well. Okay. Does that? Thank you. Thank you very much.